Oh, yes. So, found out wonderful discovery. Um, um, so fabulous discovery. Last night was discovered this Dr. Kathy Kolot on Marie TV. This like 5 year video 5 years ago. However, so ingenious about how to work in detail in like a 5 step. She has a 5 step detail to cultivate a gentle and loving and effective and like a unifying relationship with our subconscious. And we know how much Tracy Lynn loves the subconscious. It is November 25th, 2017, day until Christmas for the Jesus Christ. Okay, so these 5 steps. So simple and what so this unifying really this whole self-love to be able to have free-spirited, a wild-hearted, and a magic-minded all in unison so that we are all on the same page with ourselves so that there isn't this dissonance of behavior going against ourselves, especially because that just like creates the worst depression is if you are actively behaving in ways that you don't believe in, that devalue yourself, go against yourself, and are answering to other people's beliefs, values, opinions, and like, especially if those are being hard hitted in, whole other thing, but like super important not to do because it's dishonoring ourselves, like at a very functional level and therefore fundamental. So now is getting the mind. This is what I'm all about, is getting the mind, all parts of ourself, are getting our mind, our body, our spirit, our soul, our heart, and all the parts of our mind, like all the parts of our brain, conscious and subconscious, which I have been like running on the premise of that the conscious mind. First I was like it's 50-50, conscious, subconscious. Then I was like conscious is like 10%, subconscious 90%. And then this doctor is saying, scientists will say 3% is conscious, 97% unconscious. So that's huge. So the most powerful and impacting and therefore I think like life affirming and changing tool is subconscious. So okay. So then um so the and if we don't know how to communicate with our subconscious, then of course if the programming that the subconscious is taking on of the habits that are just like whatever it's picking up, however it's getting in its information and however it's behaving based on, if our subconscious is not in a healthy relationship to make sure we're on the same page with ourselves. I think not being on the same page with ourselves in any capacity, like in any parts of us, if we're off from other parts of each other, that is where it all like falls apart. That's where we're working against ourselves. I think it's like ask yourself, like, are you in unison with you? Are you all in alignment with you? Is truly what you're doing, feeling in alignment with what you're believing, wanting, knowing, trusting, desiring? Like, right? Like, and that's because then that's clear cut power, and that's focus, and that's flow, and ease, and enjoyment, and effortless prosperity really comes from in that synchronicity. And so the relationship we have with ourselves, oh my God, this is so on target. Like this is so on point because my same lingo is so applicable here. So also So if that relationship, if there isn't a healthy relationship between ourselves, between how we're relating to the parts of ourselves, that's one. The other is if we're identifying, I'm doing so good today. Good morning, by the way. Love you. Wake up. Okay, so if we are identifying, if we are also identifying with the smallest, arguably, part of our control system that's regulating us, our behavior, our beliefs, our results, therefore, results come from within, resulting from within, results are resulting from within, appearing out. Oh, that is so good. So let's check my time. Ooh, the best 5 minutes. Okay, then if we're identifying with the conscious, if we're making our identity within 3% of what is conducting all of our functioning beliefs, behaviors, then that's potentially dangerous if it's incongruent and off from the 97%. If it's running against that, then we're really running against ourselves. Like we're fighting against something that isn't on the same page. And so how do we get all of this to be like, you know what, I honor what we each play, and I'm going to take responsibility, the ability to respond. I'm going to take my ability to respond, because that's all we really have, is our ability to respond with all the resources we have within us. This is like a new aspect of resources, of understanding how to utilize our resources and to how to be aware of our resources. I am just flowing today. And so that is powerful, because then we can start this back and forth powerhouse so that we are a team, literally teaming for ourselves. And watch this, it's powerful. So there's these 5 steps. So, and I would say 6. I would say like the first is, she was talking about the recognition. Oh my God. Would you say that recognition means self-awareness? Yes. Recognize yourself. Be self-aware. So first, observe. Observe your mind. Observe your body. Observe yourself. Observe your feelings. Observe what's going on for you. I would say, yeah, let's go with 6 steps, okay? Because first is awareness. And that is through observation. That is through checking in. That is through taking a moment to be aware of what it feels like for you, and to be honest with ourselves, to get honest with ourselves privately, to be aware of ourselves, okay? So first is recognition. Be aware of any dissonance that we feel we mentally have, that we want something, but we're also afraid of it. We do something, but we also don't like it. We fear something, but we also feel it. And so if we're wanting things that are incongruent, that have incongruencies that show up, if we really want something, and I experience this, is like really working to get something, towards something, and full, you know what, I've been explaining this and describing this in therapy as like, I feel like I am half fully for myself, knowing who I am, knowing what I want, knowing I can do it, knowing I believe in myself. But then I feel like there's this like other 50. So the other half is like fully in exact opposite. It's fully for fear, disbelief, not sure, don't believe in myself. And I watch myself be like, I can't really feel both. I can't be in both. That doesn't make sense. So what is it really? And there's been this confusion of, how can I say I fully believe in myself? I really know who I am. And I believe I can do what I'm meant to do. And then how can I say, oh, I don't know. I don't believe myself. I can't do it. Like, and be so in it. Okay, so do you ever feel at conflict with yourself? Yeah? Self-recognition. Be aware, check in, get in tune, observe the relationship, no judging it, just being aware of what is happening and where there is disagreement, where there is conflict, okay? So then so step 2 is, yeah, get humble. Meaning getting humble with, let's see. She said, trusting the subconscious long enough to learn from it. So that, I think, the get humble is like diving deeper into step 1. So having that observation and awareness, and then, okay, what are we going to do with that is go deeper. And this is all cultivating a gentle relationship. This is very important, that this relationship between our conscious and our subconscious, our 3% conscious and 97% subconscious, is getting a gentle relationship. I think when you can reach people, you're reaching them gently. That's how it happens. So this step 2 is diving deeper, getting humble, to take the time to honor what we don't understand. Honor the 97% that we're just aware of exists as of now, and what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do with it? And apparently, if the 97% is like a computer program that, like, I mean, we don't understand how to use this computer. We don't understand how it's getting thinner and skinnier and darker every time. But we can still use it, and we can still learn how to program it, how to work with it, how to use what is in it. Most optimally is our goal for happiness, fulfillment, and appropriate, in alignment, success for our life, which I think in full is like really the purpose and the point of full living and the meaning of life. So let's do it lovingly, right? Because you'll miss the meaning if it's not gentle and loving and compassionate and understanding and non-judgmental and la 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 la. So getting humble long enough to learn from your subconscious, because realizing that our subconscious, therefore, even when we don't understand it, and this can be applied, I was going to say, on and off the mat. I'm so used to like doing it for yoga, teaching like, okay, what we learn on the mat and what we practice on the mat is transferable off the mat. Like we are cultivating such okay, muscles in our body enough. Back to the mind. But really, this is why I also have loved yoga and gotten so transformative in that. So then realizing that our subconscious therefore has information and wisdom in it. And this is where it comes from, like, problems have lessons in them. This is where it comes from. Problems are gifts, is because they're giving us something. They're giving us key wisdom that it's something good. It's just and this is something good. It's just the relationship with each other isn't relating to each other yet. So that the resistance then has wisdom in it, and that we're both standing for something, that it's not to get rid of what is in the subconscious and the conscious, what we're standing for and what we're not standing for, because it's about getting to the root of what we're standing on and what we've grown from. That our subconscious, it's not just having that, like, okay, we're in confidence and believing, and then we're in unconfident and disbelieving and fear and faith. It's not that it's so black and white. It's that fear, that unknowing where we are. It's that fear is coming from fear of something that we don't want. So we're standing in, you know what, we're not going to push too much because we used to always push. So we fear what we think pushing means. If we work super hard and that push is only stress, if we can't work hard while being calm, which what we're fighting for this time, then we're really fearing stress, as opposed to work ethic, strength, power, focus, determination. None of those things are what the problem is. It is just, well, can we do that calmly? And since it hasn't seen it before, since we haven't totally done it consciously, consistently before, then it's like, oh no, the more important commitment is to calmness. So yes, other things get sacrificed because there isn't this relationship to be like, well, how can we let both parties win? How can we let our best subconscious and our best conscious intentions marry together and be like, you know what, we're going to have determination and work ethic naturally with flow, and understand that we can trust our subconscious to calmly pursue what we are purposefully intending with our potential to create. How many P words did I just use? Number 3. So steps. So 1 is observe, recognize, be aware. 2, get humble and learn from the subconscious. 3 is get specific details on what is. So once we're in the subconscious, getting specific details about what exactly it is fearing, what exactly it's disagreeing on, what exactly it's wanting, and getting that from interviewing it, having a conversation with yourself. And this is where I recommend the verbal conversation with ourselves. I think that's why, you know what? I think it's so important how we talk to ourselves. And people say that, oh, I talk to myself all the time. You know, why it's so important to talk to ourselves, I think verbally, is because what we don't realize it's sometimes when we're in our head, we don't let ourselves actually have a conversation and convert with our subconscious if we're not verbally getting it out there and physicalizing it, right? Because then we don't know that when you're in your head and you're quiet and you ask it something and then you get an answer, you could just be like in your conscious you're just back and forthing with your conscious. So to get access to your subconscious, it's automatic. It comes out and you make yourself say something. You don't have to intellectualize and consciously, this all makes sense, know the answer. But when you ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And make yourself say something out. Well, I'm afraid of this. And something comes out. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of falling. I'm afraid of stressing. I'm afraid of like disappointing. I'm afraid of committing. I'm afraid of, okay, so whatever it could be for you, all those things is the interview process needs to be some way that we are really interviewing the subconscious as opposed to interviewing just what we already know to be true and then confirming it and then being just as confused by the end of this as you were at the beginning. So I would really emphasize that at this step 3 of getting specific is getting verbally specific. Getting outwardly specific is this is how we understand so much more. And this is why, I'm literally talking to myself all the time on vlogs, on video. And it's allowing the subconscious to show itself more so. But direct questions are so powerful because it directs our focus. And then when we like forcingly encourage the subconscious to be the responder to those powerful focused questions, then we're getting really true answers of the from that direction, from that focus. So do it verbally. Okay, so 1, again, this is just recap. 1, recognize, observe the dissonance that's going on, the conflict, the conflicting beliefs from what you want and then what you don't want, and how it doesn't make sense that they're the same and different, and like you're like, well, what do you want? And why do I want 2 different things? And so observe, get recognition, observe, be aware, self-awareness, check in. 2 is getting humble, to learn long enough from the subconscious, the wisdom that is coming from it. 3 is get specific details, interviewing it to really understand what is coming out, make it come out. Okay. Okay, so then 4 is make a promise. So then 4 is making a promise with our subconscious. So therefore it's ending up setting an intention, but the promise is to be that you are going to take into consideration that there is the subconscious, and then honor what the subconscious is standing for, and that now we are going to have it balance and work together. So the promise is that now there's going to be a relationship, that I'm going to only do something if it's honoring my subconscious desires and intentions and all of what I want, as opposed to I'm not going to do it stressfully anymore. I'm only going to, have a work ethic and be determined and work towards something, and I'm only going to do something in a calm way now. And we're only going to get there calmly. And we're only going to get there trusting. We're not going to get there worried and stressed and fearful. So it's promising with the subconscious that now we're going to do it differently. That now that I've heard what the fears are, what I'm standing for is about, what's important to us, that I'm going to take all this into account, and I'm only going to do it if we do it our way. And that's a really important, and that requires trust that we're going to do things differently, which comes into the next step. First, in the making a promise, it's really to cultivate the balance now, that we're gonna be in balance from now on. And that before, when we would do work ethic, we would be too stressed and we'd go all one type A that way, and then burn out and run out. And then the other way is, relaxed, be less effective, less confronting, confrontational, and focused, etc. You get the contrast. So now the promise is about the balance. It's about we are going to be balanced. So then 5 is I get examples. Really it is, okay, so, and then 5. So 5 is get exemplary. So that is getting positive examples of that it is possible in this new way. This new way that we have to trust that we're going to do is to flood us with, is this a river-like reference? Flood us with showing ourselves new ways that we can be this new way, that we can do it differently, that either other people have done it differently, or to cultivate and imagine really visually, the visualization of encompassing all the senses of our body, auditory, visual, sense, smell, hear, feel, all of that into a visualization of an exemplary possible positivity of this newness, to therefore see ourselves in this newness this way. What would it look like if we did it fully balanced? What would it look like if we really did what we want to do, taking into account all that we have at play, all the subconscious, all the conscious, all the subconscious, and getting in detail, using all of ourself to have this exemplary example. Because it's amazing when we can be the first one to do it this way, even though there has been so many people in life that have done it so many ways. And it's to open ourselves up to the awareness that instead of just confirming what the story of the recapping what we know people have done it a certain way and what we've seen maybe close up, is to get farther out, get a wider map of, okay, well, who do we not know that have done it, and it's contradicted what we've been certain and confirmed in our belief. So, and overwhelm it with that. Like, have more of the new positive than the old. The old is so much already. So we want to balance that out. We want to match it and then override it with more positive information, because if you got this much negativity, you're going to need this much positivity and more to like flip it so that it's outnumbered, outweighed, and it's like, oh, well, I guess, okay, yeah, this makes more sense than this now. 6. So going over them. So 1 is getting recognition, checking in, self-awareness, observing the conflict, the dissonance. 2 is getting humble about having awareness to what we can learn from our subconscious, trusting our subconscious long enough. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing. 3 is get specific, interview it on the details of what it really means and what it's really needing, what its needs are. Have a verbal interview, communication with it, so it's outwardly and we're hearing it, because answers will come to us and we'll be like, oh my God, I didn't think that before I said it. It just came out, and I guess that's what the truth is subconsciously. And then 4 is make a promise. So then 4 is make a promise of the intention of the balance of doing this new from now on, and then we're going to honor both sides and we're going to relate with this. And then 5 is get exemplary, of positive, flooding more information with the new way and getting that like complete body visualization of the possibility for the new, so that we override the old programming and we flip it and we outweigh it and we outnumber it. And then 6, the final one, is I solidify and affirm. So this is where I bring into incantations, because I think affirmations, and she said, like, oh, they can sound like you might not believe them, unbelievable, or that they're untrue, and that the subconscious knows that an affirmation isn't true. So yes, you can say it as like, oh, it's a reminder. However, what I've learned from Tony Robbins is the most powerful is incantations. And that is just like this type of visualization, is using our whole body and our whole mind and our whole voice. Therefore, to use your body and your voice to say these affirmations, to say these things as actualizations, because then you're hitting all the systems, all the wiring, and making it real, that the subconscious is like, oh, I feel, okay, yep, sold, I believe it. Because think about it, like, how do you have to sell someone on something? It's the whole experience. That's exactly the thing. If you're going to sell anyone anything, they've got to be sold on it. And that means, like, don't show me any holes. Don't show me any flaws. So if you're going to sell your subconscious on this new faith, on this new belief, on this new improvement, on this new way, then sell it in full. You gotta fully be in it, so that when it feels it, it's like, oh yeah, I feel it. Oh yeah, I got it. Okay, we're good. We're gold. I'm with that. That feels good. It's believable. I can clearly see that it's possible for us to be that way because I'm doing it right now in this affirmation. And so that's coming up from like saying in this powerful, full-on way to ourselves, say it in front of the mirror, so powerful when we look ourselves in the eye, so powerful. Instantly, like in a moment, I've changed my moods the fastest with incantations, I feel like, and where they can stay the longest that way from incantations. This is a really how-to video today. So that 6 is the affirmations are what we want to have already been the thing, that we say we have already done it, we already are it, and that like I am balanced and full and calm and relaxed, and I can have it all the way that is best for me, and it easily flows and it easily comes, and I'm so grateful and thankful, and I'm one with God, and God is everything. And that is like full on focus and power, and the battery's going on the computer. So that's all it is. So quickly, 1, recognize, observe, check in, self-awareness. 2, be humble, get deep, trust your subconscious long enough to learn from it and to find the wisdom in your subconscious that it's telling you. 3 is get specific, interview it with the details of what it's standing for, what it means, what that looks like in each detail. 4 is making a promise to have the balance of the relationship from now on, that we're only going to do this if we take into account this, and we're going to do it a new way, and we're going to be balanced. And then 5 is to get exemplary. So getting exemplary is the positive example, the positive visualization of the new way, to seeing it and feeling it and believing the new way, that other people have done it this way too, that there is more than one way that's possible than what we've like confirmed. And then 6 is solidifying and affirming. And then 6 is solidifying and affirming through incantations. Powerful. So that was when I heard all this. How do you feel? Because I felt like, wow, that's a great way to understand how to relate to what we can get so lost in our mind, and then we don't know what step we're at, we don't know where we're at, and where we got lost at it, where we went wrong. And so knowing this checklist, it seems like, okay, now I can understand what I can't see, right? So yeah, that would be it. I'm getting cold. So I love that. Hope that's helpful. And it was a great way for me to break it down. And oh my God, my foot is asleep. So I felt so glad and so happy. Oh, and so then the greatest time to like do all this and check in is before bed, right before bed, to like access your subconscious, and right upon waking. Those are really nice moments when we're going into that. And so asking our subconscious before we go to bed, always ask our subconscious a question, an intention, something to work through, how we can relate to this. And I did that last night before going to sleep, and it was so lovely and changed my waking this morning. From how it had been yucky, I was like, oh my God, the wake ups have been like the worst part of how I feel. And then I got to like fight through that to get over that hump each day. I'm like, this is not, something is off. And so it really helped last night doing that. And I always put myself to sleep with like listening to a visualization of gratitude and grace and love and healing. So that helps. But the word of myself, it coming from my words and my intention to when we sleep, since our sleep is so much our subconscious time, then I now see the power of like giving the power to my subconscious and asking for it. Like I wrote a letter even in my journal, like, dear subconscious, I now want, like, this is me, Tracy Lynn, and I want to have a loving, gentle relationship with you, and like let's have this work together, and the power of writing. So really getting a better relationship with ourselves through gentleness and ease and love and grace and learning how to understand and work our computer, you know? Okay, so hope you love yourself. I love myself. I love myself. I love me. Okay, I believe in me. Oh my God, love it. So excited, so happy. Hope you have a great day. Love you. Okay, bye. The soulful babe. So soulful.